Welcome to The Outlet, an OTG production.
What's up, NBA fans? Welcome to another edition of The Outlet. With me, as always, is Parth and a special guest today, John. How you guys doing?
What's going on, Nick?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
No problem. This is going to be a great show. And if you guys didn't know, we're ranking all 30 NBA teams. The next team in our rankings, the Orlando Magic. They're coming at number 26. Before we talk about the rankings, here's one clip of the Magic from last season.
Perfect clip for Orlando. Describes them perfectly. A bunch of unpolished players who can't really shoot, but are incredible athletes and can get up and tip slam and do a bunch of stuff on the fast break.
Yeah,
I just love Elfrid Payton, man. I love everything about him.
Dude,
Super athletic point guard.
Dude, his hair looks just like the Weeknd's.
Yeah.
That's a perfect comparison right there. I'm going to agree with you on the clip. It defines the Magic pretty well. They're not great shooters, but there's a ton of great athletes, so they're an exciting team to watch. Would you guys say – well, you go, Parth.
Do you think the Weeknd and Elfrid Payton know each other?
I'm sure they will soon enough.
I don't know. Peyton's still pretty young. I don't know if he's too much of a celebrity for all that yet.
What would you call that haircut? I call it the palm tree.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
It's like well kept, but it's not well kept at the same time.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It gives them a few inches.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, do you guys think this is a fair ranking for the Magic?
I think it's a fair ranking, but I can also see where it's not, and they make the playoffs as an 8th seed. So I feel like I'm a little bit higher than you on the Magic, but I mean, who really knows? So we'll go with this as a fair ranking.
John?
Yeah, I think it is, but the Magic are improving tremendously, and the NBA as a whole, I think, is improving. Like, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of bottom feeders this year. I think the Magic have, like, with Oladipo and Payton, they have one of the best defensive backcourts in the league. So I think it's fair, but I wouldn't be surprised if they make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the Magic definitely have a lot of potential. I think their future's bright, but this season, one thing that scares me about the Magic is their lack of rim protector. And
yeah.
They have great perimeter defenders, but as soon as you get in that paint, Vucevic isn't really doing much. So that kind of concerns me. And offensively, we mentioned they struggled, so they all need to kind of take that next step in their shooting, especially Payton.
Yeah,
so,
I think they're a year away.
Yeah, I think their future's definitely bright, but not this season. But they got a couple young talent that are really developed nicely.
Yeah,
so,
I agree with everything. Yep.
What do you guys think? We got some key returners for this season, like Victor Oladipo, Elfrid Payton, Tobias Harris, Nikola Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, and then they made some offseason moves. Who do you like in the key returners this year to have a big year?
I like Aaron Gordon. He's basically another lottery pick coming in because he didn't play much last season. So it'll be interesting to see how he fits in with this roster because he has a ton of athletic talent. And even in summer league this past summer, he showed off a new and improved jump shot. So I'm interested to see how he fits in with the team.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
They could definitely benefit from Aaron Gordon taking that next step, especially if you mentioned the jump shot, because spacing, I think, is an issue for this team. If he's able to show he has a consistent jumper, that'll be a huge help.
Yeah, I'm excited about all these guys coming back. I think Oladipo, obviously, I got a big-time crush on. But, I think his jump shot's improving. He was 34% last year, which isn't great, but it's getting better. I like the Aaron Gordon, like how you pointed that out, Parth. I think he showed some bright spots in summer league. So I think hopefully if he's healthy this year, if he has a full season, I think it'll be exciting to see how he comes along too.
Yeah, Oladipo, definitely he's a great player, and I think that he could take that next step. Last year, I know I played him a lot in FanDuel. He had some big games where he was racking up the points, the assists, and the rebounds, and I like that he competes defensively. It's one nice thing about that backcourt.
I think with all these guys is their shooting has to improve for everyone. For them to really take that next step. Because Nick Vucevic is a beast in the paint, but he only has so much room when you have people throwing up bricks from the perimeter.
Exactly. I mean, they need someone to step up as a shooter. Tobias Harris is a pretty good shooter, but they all could take that next step in their shooting. So what moves you guys like that the Magic made this offseason?
I love drafting Hazonia. Love Hazonia. He's easily my favorite player in this draft class. And I also love getting C.J. Watson, having that capable backup for Elfrid Payton, and also he's a veteran, so he can teach Payton some things, how to stay relevant in the league, how to make that next step. So I think having those two and then getting rid of Jacques Vaughn and bringing in Scott Skiles is a big time improvement for them.
Yeah, I like Hazanya as well. I think he's called the Croatian Kobe. So, and he threw down that crazy dunk in Summer League. I hate C.J. Watson though, just because he ruined the Nets playoffs not that long ago. You guys know what I'm talking about when he went out for the dunk and he blew that series. So I'll never forget him for that.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Honestly, I like all the acquisitions they made, except I still think they need. I guess Dwayne Dedmon's their backup rim protector at center, and I'm not really sold on that. But I like Shabazz Napier as I guess a third string point guard's fine. Jason Smith can stretch the floor. C.J. Watson, he's a veteran. He can knock down some threes, and Hudsonia we talked about. I like Tyler Harvey too. I think he could end up being like I guess a spark plug off the bench, maybe a six man in the future. I don't know how good he'll end up being, but he was a big time scorer at like Eastern Washington or whatever. So I think it's a good chance to draft him.
Yeah, Harvey's definitely a heat check guy.
Yeah.
And I like the Shabazz pickup as well. I mean, they got him pretty much for free. Like a second round pick that's like protected for like 58 and up. So can't complain about that, saying he was the first round pick a year or two ago. What moves do you not like from the Magic this offseason?
I'm pretty sure they moved Mo Harkless for absolutely nothing. And
True.
giving up a young player who is talented but hasn't just hit his stride yet for nothing, I think will hurt this team in the future.
Yeah, I mean, he works hard. You continue, John.
No, I agree with that. I think he's still young, and I think he was didn't really get a good chance to shine in Orlando. And I was kind of just going to go off that and say I just don't like how I love that my Knicks got Kyle O'Quinn for basically nothing, but Kyle O'Quinn's a solid backup center. I think they could really use him this year.
And his physical presence. I mean,
exactly, yeah.
And he's pretty much a veteran on that squad. So, I mean, losing him, I guess they picked up Jason Smith to kind of replace him. But I agree. I think you kind of got to get value for your players, not just trade them away for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm reading the article. It says the Magic, they swapped the right to swap a future second round pick with the Knicks. That's all they got. I mean, Kyle O'Quinn's worth a lot more than that.
Yeah, that's close to nothing, really.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think is going to be the biggest X factor for the Magic this season?
Like I pointed out earlier, I think it's Aaron Gordon. I think he has the versatility at the forward spot, so guard on the perimeter and in the post. And then if he can make strides offensively, he can really help this team out.
I'm going to have to agree with that. I think I'm going to go with him as my X factor as well, because I think he could impact this team more than anybody else can. You know, Victor Oladipo, Elfrid Payton are going to improve. Vujicic is going to continue to work hard in the paint, but they really need that four position to step up. They had Channing Frye play that a lot, but this year they'll have Aaron Gordon. Hopefully he can hit that jumper, be athletic, get some nice dunks, and he'll continue to add to the athleticism of that team.
Yeah, I think my X factor, I think it's got to be the whole. I think their backcourt defense is going to be great. I'm kind of concerned about their front court defense because we talked about how they don't really have a rim protector. I think just Gordon, and not just Gordon's defense, but Tobias Harris. Harris kind of reminds me of Melo in that, you know what you're gonna get offensively, but defense in that it almost seems like he takes plays off. And so that's a concern of mine. Is just not just Gordon, but their defense for the front court as a whole.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue for them. And going forward, and Tobias Harris, I think that's a good comparison. Melo, he's a poor man's Melo, as people would like to say.
Yeah.
And they need to add that rim protector, even next year in free agency or potentially in the draft. But just they need to protect that paint. I don't know if Vujicic can do that. Aaron Gordon, I'm not sure if can do that either. So that's an issue going forward with this team.
Yeah, last year Vucevic led this team in blocks, and then of course that ends up with a 24th defensive rating because he's not the best rim protector, but he's still leading this team in blocks. So you need improvement there.
Exactly. I think they finished, 29th in the league in blocks per game, and that's not a nice figure to have. You want to be a good defensive team. And especially when you already have the lockdown defenders in Payton and Oladipo in the backcourt, you need that front court to really step up.
Right.
Yeah.
So
so one thing I wanted to just mention before we move on. I think the Magic have underachieved the most of any team in the past last year. I think the combination was having a coach who didn't really know what he was doing, but this team has a lot of talent. So I think with the right coach, Scott Skiles has always been a pretty good defensive coach. I think he'll get them going on the right path this year defensively.
Yeah, defensively they should improve. The only thing that worries me with Scott Skiles is offensively he hasn't always been the most offensively gifted coach, and their offense could struggle a little bit, especially if they lack the shooting. That's the only concern I have with Skiles.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So going into our next segment, what do you think's the best case scenario for the Magic this season?
Best case scenario, I think they make a playoff run and make the 8th seed.
I think that's a great scenario for them. That's probably best case because their players. That means that the players develop, they're winning, they're probably playing good defense, and they're going to get some playoff experience. You can't complain about that. But you also want them to get a high pick. So either way, I think it could work out for them.
Yeah, I agree. I think 8th pick is pretty realistic because the top 6 is arguably pretty solidified, barring any significant injuries. And you can even argue top 7. I think Indiana is going to be a pretty good team this year. So there's not a whole lot of room for them to, I guess, jump teams and whatnot.
Yeah, the East definitely improved this year, so that'll make it a little bit tougher on Orlando. But going forward, you got to love this team.
Yeah.
But worst case scenario, what do you think this season? What's worst case for the Magic?
I think there are 2 worst case scenarios. I think Aaron Gordon has been dealing with injuries, so I think if he gets hurt again, which further stunts his growth, I think that's a terrible, terrible omen for the Orlando Magic. And also, if they do make a run at the playoffs and play deep into April, fighting for that 8th spot and don't make it, they end up with the 14th pick in the draft. I don't think that's. I'd rather lose than be a mediocre, almost kind of make the playoff sort of team.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying with that worst case scenario. I'm probably agree with that. They end up with maybe the 9th or 10th spot in the East. They get a bad lottery pick and they don't make the playoffs, so they're kind of caught in between. They're not able to draft that rim protector that they need, and there is a little bit development, but not enough to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the most realistic worst case scenario is what Parth just said about them kind of being a middle of the road team. I don't think they'll be horrible like they were last year. I think they'll actually be pretty good this year. And I think something realistic is like they might be like the 10th seed in the East with like 35 wins, and they end up with 12th pick in the draft or whatever.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to have an impact on them. So going to our next segment, The Truth. If you guys didn't know, we're picking an emoji for every team. For the Magic, we're going to go with a gun because this team desperately needs a sharpshooter.
I think Hazonia could probably be that for them. They also drafted Tyler Harvey. I don't know if he'll end up making the squad, but those 2 can definitely shoot the long ball. And I think the improvement with Aaron Gordon that we saw in Summer League will definitely help out as well.
Yeah, Hazonia definitely international players. They always usually can shoot well. I think it usually takes a year of adjustment for them. So maybe towards the end of the season he'll really start to pick it up. But going forward, he's definitely could be that sharpshooter for this team.
Yeah, I think, and one guy I'm going to add is, or a couple of guys, is Channing Frye has always been a knockdown shooter. So that's one guy you can rely upon. And Oladipo, I think he's going to, I don't know if he's going to be close to 40, but he improved it upon his rookie year. So I'm thinking he'll be, somewhere around 37 to 38% would be, I think that'd be really good for him. And I think it's possible too.
Yeah. He definitely needs to take that next step in terms of his perimeter shooting.
And that'd be huge for his game because then defenders are going to have to come out all to the three-point line. And we all know that Oladipo is a great finisher in the paint with either layups or dunks. So that could be a huge addition to his game.
Michael Carter-Williams knows that too.
Yeah, he does. All right, guys, for our next segment is, are you going to watch the Magic on League Pass?
Me, I definitely will be watching the Magic on League Pass. They only have 1 national televised game this season, which is atrocious. They should definitely have more because they're an exciting young team. But I will try to catch a decent amount of Magic games.
I'll catch a few Magic games for sure because I love to play Victor Oladipo on FanDuel, so that kind of dictates my League Pass schedule. What about you, John?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch the Magic. They have my favorite jerseys. Those Orlando Pride jerseys, I think, are so tight. So yeah, I'm definitely watching a lot of Magic.
Would you guys rather watch the Orlando Magic or Mr. Robot?
That's a tough one. I love Mr. Robot. As much as I love the Magic, I'm gonna have to go with Robot on this one.
What about you, John?
Yeah, I haven't watched that show yet, but I've just heard incredible things about it. So right now I'm gonna say Magic, but if I, by chance get hooked on that show, that could change.
Yeah, John will be watching Robot.
Once I finish Dragon Ball Z.
Hey.
Oh, it's hard to watch anything but Dragon Ball Z.
I know, right?
That's for another podcast.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for listening. And a hint for our next team, they're out in Hollywood. Thank you guys. Have a great day.